Olex Network 18, Mission Poshan, Bhavishya Roshan.
A very good morning. Welcome to Chartbusters. Well, this is the show where we highlight a whole host of buzzing stocks. We'll also get you a couple of managements. Well, we have some news that's flashing for you on the screen. MOIL has cut their prices of various products by around 15 to around 20%. We spoke to the management just around 5 days ago, and they indicated that, in fact, yes, they're likely they're seeing some kind of pressure on prices, and that explains why. In fact, we should actually get a comment coming from the management. I'm sure our team is trying to get the latest in terms of what's going on there, so we'll keep an eye out on that front. For the time being, the stock has moved lower despite reporting a rather stable set of numbers in Q4 on the back of this news. But it's a Friday morning. Things are looking pretty decent. Nifty more or less flattish. I'm in green. I think I've got the color right, at least as of now.
As of now, I mean, I hope you hold on to that.
I've hedged myself. I've got a little red on my tie.
I have hedged myself the best. There is white and blue, nothing to do with the markets at that point in time because it is Friday. So we'll keep an eye on a couple of stocks. Nigel, are you riding a non-Enfield bike this weekend? Because Bajaj, that stock should come up for you, up 4%. And remember, they had about 30% sales growth in the month of May. And right now, that stock is at the high point.
Wow!
Of the day.
Just look at take a look at that move. Don't talk about the Enfield, Mangalam. You know, I've sold my bike.
Oh,
I'm quite depressed as well about it. But
are you looking to buy a non-Enfield bike now?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
but I may look at buying the next Enfield bike that comes out later this year.
That's very expensive.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, okay, we will talk about that in a bit. But first up, all the top stories that we're tracking at this point in time. ICICI Bank, that one's off highs after the bank denies appointing any search committee to find Chanda Kocher's successor. The bank also denies having asked Chanda Kocher to go on leave. Says Kocher is on her annual leave, which was planned in advance.
Bajaj Auto posts strong sales numbers. The total sales in May jumped 30%. Rajiv Bajaj is optimistic on growth, says the company will be able to maintain margins despite high commodity prices. He targets FY19 volume growth of at least 10%.
Escorts trades in the green. May tractor sales jumped 21%. Exports rise over 100% on a year-on-year basis.
And NCC trades in the green as the company bags package 3 of Mumbai-Nagpur Expressway contract.
Good news on the macro front. India clocks better than expected 7.7% growth rate for the fourth quarter in the GDP, helped by a 14% surge in gross fixed capital asset formation. Ends FY18 with a growth of 6.7%. GVA rise 6.5%.
We were just talking about the markets being in the green, and just take a look at that. We moved into the red actually as we speak.
So the tie color,
the
color of your tie
helped
coming in.
me. I hedged myself out there. We're getting the India Nikkei manufacturing, May manufacturing PMI. That's shown some kind of contraction as well. So that's not too good news. Some contraction is what we're seeing there. But the reason the markets have moved into the red is because of ICICI Bank. Take a look at the intraday chart over there. That stock was up close to around 3%. Most on the street believed, yes, this is the right move, to give, the MD, Chanda Kocher, a bit of a break and then relook at what's happening. Now, in fact, with that clarification that's coming out from ICICI Bank itself, the street doesn't appear too happy, and that's why, in fact, the stock has moved, come off the high point of the day, moving to the day's low. Besides that, HUL and Tech Mahindra as well, both those two Nifty stocks, they have seen some selling pressure. How do you trade the Nifty from here? Ashwini, I was hearing you out in the morning. You were saying that a bit of a bounce could be a shorting opportunity. Is the Nifty looking like we'll see a bit of a downtake from here on?
See, if you were a bear, I mean, you haven't really been able to take, any sort of levels out. I mean, 10,700, 710 should be your first port of call if you want any sort of downside traction. But so far, that does not seem to be the case. So for the moment, whatever dip you are getting on the Bank Nifty, you have to go with the case that the bears are not too strong, and chances are once bulls take over, we should look at higher levels. Certain sectors are doing very well, so things like autos and metals, they should be sectors of the day. Overall, frontline indices, the better chances that you are sideways, and by the end of it, you don't go one way or the other. As far as individual stocks are concerned, CEAT is a buy with a stop of 1355, target of 1390. Vedanta is a buy with a stop of 254, target of 268. And Maruti is a buy with a stop of 8650, target of 8800.
All right, Maruti, we'll keep an eye out on that. Due to report its May sales very soon, likely to outperform the industry because of the waiting period as well. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But Ashwini, before we let you go, a couple of these stocks, they're not doing too well. Biocon on a Friday feeling ill at the low point of the day. We have M&M Financial as well, which is at the low point of the day. Any shorting opportunities in some of these mid-caps which are lower?
Mid caps have not picked up even in the new series, so maybe Biocon it's not able to cross, I think, 680, 690 very convincingly. So yes, Biocon you can get short. M&M Financial, again, NBFC is kind of slow off the blocks, but all NBFCs are acting fairly differently. So maybe go with a Biocon and leave out M&M Financial for the moment.
All right, Ashwini, thanks a lot for joining in and giving us your views. With that, we'll sip a short break, come back. On the other side, we have the management of Technocraft Industries on the focus of their fourth quarter results. Well, looks like, Nigel, you've hedged yourself fairly perfectly because the market's one step in the green, one step in the red. The Sensex is right now in the green and the Nifty is in the red. Yes.
I always hedge myself on Friday.
All right. On that case, actually, who are you calling today? Are you messaging your wife or not? Because Bharti Airtel, that stock should come up for you. That one's at the high point of the day. So, should we... Is there something on the...
I've had my bachelor days, Mangalam. I know exactly what you're going to do, but for sure I'm messaging my wife. I hope you're going to be messaging only one girlfriend, not more than that. And there are a lot of interested parties out there who are looking at you. So please behave yourself. Don't talk about all this smoking and all this drinking and all that.
I will be sitting home watching TV, which is why I see Dish TV. That one is up at the high point of the day. So we will talk about individual stocks in a bit.
Yeah, but because unless you want to talk more about this, then I can talk about some maybe interesting parties in office, outside office.
None of that.
Okay.
So let's go to the management that's waiting by. It's a Friday. Technocraft Industries, that stock is on our radar on the back of a good fourth quarter results. Remember, yesterday too, the stock was up in an otherwise weakish mid-cap market. We have Sharad Saraf, the chairman and the MD of the company, joining in now. Thanks a lot, Mr. Saraf, for joining in. Your top line growth of close to around 27% is much higher than what you had guided for earlier, which was anywhere between 10 to 15%. Most of that has come by on account of scaffoldings, where we've seen a phenomenal growth of close to around 49%. Do you think that's sustainable? What's your outlook for FY19?
Yes, this 27% figure may not be sustainable for March 19. Now, I would put it more like 15%, between 15 and 20%. The scaffolding is sustainable for sure. If we don't do this 49%, we could probably do about 30-35% because we have a lot of orders and we have a lot of business in the pipeline. So I think that would be good. But we expect a good turnaround in drum closure division, where we actually saw a negative in the top line, so in the profits. So I think that will come through because we had some bad patch in the drum closure business.
Right.
The steel prices went up, the rupee hardened, and so both of them had a very negative impact. So both of these are now taken care of. So I think we'll be back to the normal growth of drum closure profit. Then I expect a big turnaround in the fabric division. So in the fabric division, what is shown is basically a very large amount of depreciation. Because we went in for a very large expansion. But the new expansion that has been done, that will start giving results in this year. Already, a lot of equipment has already started. And we've already booked a very good quantity of orders. So I think you have seen already in the last quarter.
Mr. Saraf, sir, just interrupting you, sir. You have given good growth in FY 18, FY19, you're saying at least a 15 to 20% growth is what we could work with, correct?
Correct.
Now in scaffolding business, you're sounding very optimistic. So last year you did around 395 crores is what you did in the last year. This year, you should move closer towards 480 to 500 crores, possible?
Yes, at least we should cross 450.
Okay, 450 crores at least.
See, this is the first year in our history that we are now in the 4-digit top line.
Okay, correct. All right, sir. We'll
And even our PAT,
Yeah.
first time has been in the 3-digit.
All right. Mr. Saraf, another point, your margins in your scaffolding business as well are looking good. So all those input cost spikes, now they've taken care of with steel prices at current levels. We'll not see any
Yes.
kind of compression. So
No.
profitability will continue in the scaffoldings business.
Yes.
The other question, sir, you're talking about now you're in 4 digits. So you're more than 1,000 crores. Splendid. Good work there. I remember a few interviews ago, Mr. Saraf, you had told us here on CNBC TV18 itself, the longer term goal is to go to 2,000 crores. By when?
Yes, it is.
FY20? FY21?
Yes, maybe 21.
21. FY21 is...
21 we should do because there are a lot of projects in the pipeline. We are doing a mega project in textiles in Amravati, for example. The scaffolding capacity is being doubled.
Which segment will lead to the growth to about 2,000 crores on the top line?
I think textiles and scaffolding.
Textiles and scaffoldings. How much will that be? What size will that be by 2021 according to you?
In 2021, both should double.
Both should double from here.
Both should double, yes. Both should double in top line.
So when you're talking about textiles, sir, you're talking about the yarn and fabric business together.
Yarn and fabric together.
So that is around 390 crores approximately now.
That should become 500 crores easily.
That should become 500 crores. All right.
500 crores, I am very sure.
No, sir, you're talking about yarn and fabric together? Both those two? Because currently you have done around 270 plus 116 crores. So that comes to around 380 crores. So we are saying that
Yes.
doubles means it should go to around 600 crores, right? I mean,
Yeah,
at least.
it should.
Okay, all right. So, both those two businesses in the last year, they haven't done really well on the margin front. But you are confident of the turnaround. I was going to ask you, why are you keeping it with these businesses only? Why you should take it away or demerge it or something? None of that on the cards.
No, certainly not.
Okay, you're optimistic you can turn it
They're
around.
all going to give us good results.
Okay.
Mr. Saraf, I'm looking at your other income. You have around 52 crores worth other income. So is it safe to assume that you have in excess of 500 crores cash on your books? What's the kind of cash?
No. At the moment, we have about 200 crore of cash, but that is being used. That will be used in our new projects.
Okay.
All right, but you've done two
Because
buybacks.
We did some buyback.
Yeah. Are you likely to continue them?
The buyback?
Yeah.
I have doubts. I really can't
So
say
what will
that.
you use that 200 crore cash for?
No, that will be used for our ongoing projects. And there is some talk about some acquisitions also. If some acquisition happens, then all that will be used up.
In defense, is that?
No, in scaffolding.
So in defense, that was another big trigger. You had told us.
Defense, unfortunately, has not taken up the way we thought it would.
Okay, so
We
you're
are still
pulling
doing
back
it.
now?
We still got some good orders.
Okay, of how much? So how much of your orders are coming in from the defense business?
We have got about 2 crore rupees worth of orders.
So that is very small. Mr. Saraf,
very small.
the last time as well you joined us, you told us that there are some 2 crore of orders. So nothing has grown from there. There's no movement on defense.
No, so out of that we delivered about 60-70 lakhs and some more orders have come.
Okay.
So we are back to the 2 crore figure.
All right.
All right, fair point. Thanks a lot, Mr. Saraf, for joining in and giving us all those details. Still sticking by the 2,000 crore revenue guidance by 2021. Expect scaffolding and textiles business to double from here by then. With that, we'll take a short break. Come back. We'll get you an excerpt of our exclusive conversation with Judith McKenna, the president and CEO of Walmart, on the other side. Stay tuned for that.
Welcome back. Then I think we have Maruti's numbers that should be coming up for you on the screen. The total sales, that's the export plus the domestic, that's coming at 1.72. That's a tad bit better than what we were working with. I think the number we were working with is around 1.6 approximately.
Right. We were working with an 18% growth and the company has gone ahead and posted a 26% growth. The stock is at the high point of the day.
And both have done well. The domestic sales are up by nearly around 25%, 24.9%. And you have the export sales on a very small base. That as well has grown by around 48%. So this looks good actually. What's really sold well? The Swift, the Celerio, the Ignis, Baleno, all of them.
These are the ones which had a high waiting period as well. So
Yes.
I think there was some lag with which they have sold. And 50.8% growth there, 77,000 units. Nearly half of their units have come from Swift, Celerio, Ignis and Baleno.
Absolutely, Mangalam. That's those are looking quite good. And the others, the Ertiga, the Vitara, Brezza and the S-Cross, there it's growth of around 13% approximately. So these numbers go down as a beat. We were working with a number of around 1.6. It's coming at around 1.72 lakh units. So thumbs up to Maruti.
Thumbs up to Maruti. In fact, the interesting part is we were working with a number of 1.61 for the entire business, and for domestic itself, they've done 1.63.
Yes.
So that is a big positive that I think the street should like, and notably so the stock is at the high point of the day. But let's move on. The Walmart's annual general meeting currently underway in Arkansas, and CNBC TV 18, remember, is the only Indian channel in attendance. After several concerns were raised regarding the Walmart-Flipkart deal, Shireen Bhan caught up with Judith McKenna, the president and CEO of Walmart International, and began by asking her how worried she is about the resistance towards this deal.
First of all, we're really excited about this transaction and very excited about being part of India in a more expanded way than we are today. We're confident in the process that will occur. We understand that there are some people who have some views about this, but we're going to comply completely with anything that the authorities ask us for, and we expect this to be a smooth process.
Mm-hmm. The only approval that you require is from the Competition Commission of India, because this transaction comes under the 100% FDI route. So is that the only approval that you require from the government?
That is the approval that we require, and that's what we're complying with, yes.
Mm-hmm. Let me talk to you about the India opportunity, and specifically about what changes for Flipkart with this investment coming in. In terms of the operating structure, we're given to understand that not too much is going to change. But in terms of synergies and being able to leverage that, can you give me some sense of what the blueprint looks like over the next few months?
Yeah, so you're exactly right in terms of the operating structure. That remains as it is today. We're really confident in the team that's in place, and we want them to continue to run the business just as they do today. What we're hoping is that we can bring some support to the business, in different areas, both from Walmart into Flipkart, but Flipkart out to the rest of the world as well. And from an Indian perspective, if you think about an area like sourcing, we believe there's opportunities to globally source through Walmart for certain products, but equally, we think there's a big opportunity to source out of India back into the rest of the world. It's one of our fastest growing sourcing regions already, and we'd like to make sure that we continue to do that.
Any specific categories that you will focus on from a global sourcing perspective from India?
One of the opportunities may be around something like apparel. So what's great about Flipkart is that under the Myntra business, they already have a strong apparel business. We would like to be able to see if we could support that for them and perhaps offer them access to more ranges, more assortment as they progress. But everything will be done based on what the Flipkart team think is right for their customers, which is right for their market.
Speaking of the e-commerce opportunity in specific in India, and of course penetration, clearly there's a lot of headroom for more growth. What's your own sense of that? It's about 2.5% of the retail market today. What is your outlook about e-commerce in India? And in terms of investing further into Flipkart, 2 billion is what you're putting in with the option of doing another billion. What's your own sense about profitability as well?
So actually, if you think about the curves that you see around the world about how e-commerce has taken off on markets, generally they have been understated in every market where this has begun to be more developed. We think that could possibly be true for India as well. It is one of the fastest growing markets, as you know far better than I do. In terms of e-commerce, and although penetration is low, we do expect that to increase quite dramatically over the coming years. Our investment in Flipkart is a long-term investment. We're excited about the long-term future for this business, and we'll be right alongside them at every step of the way as they look to build the business, to build scale, to improve the mix of the business, and ultimately to offer service to the Indian customers.
What will the next steps be to operationalize this relationship and this investment, of course, post the clearance coming in from the government? In terms of the next steps, what can we expect? And about the board composition as well, are you awaiting regulatory clearances before you announce the board?
Yes, so clearly the first step is to get competition clearance for this, so anything that we do awaits that clearance. Beyond that, we'll start to make some plans as to what we could possibly do to be supportive, and we will wait until that time for the board to be announced. Although we fully expect that to be a mix of independent board members, minority investors, and Walmart people.
It's now a battle between Walmart, Flipkart, and Amazon in India. And to an extent, Alibaba, though, of course, market share-wise, they don't figure in comparison to Flipkart as well as Amazon. How do you view the competitive landscape? How do you view Amazon's presence in India?
We're used to competitive landscapes around the world. It's one of the things that makes us better as a retailer. But one of the reasons that we've invested in Flipkart is we believe it's a great business. It's got great fundamentals, it's building out a great ecosystem, and it's very connected to the Indian customer. That's what we think makes a winning formula for this business, and we're going to focus on Flipkart and what Flipkart can do to be successful in the future.
Mm-hmm. What do you think specifically Walmart can bring to the table? Because in terms of e-commerce, you've actually been a late starter globally. So what can you bring to the table specifically to aid Flipkart's further and future growth?
So we've already talked about one of those areas being global sourcing. So that's one of the areas we believe that we can bring. There may be some technology changes between what we're developing in different markets around the world that would be applicable, and the team there will have access to anything that Walmart is developing around the world, should they want that. Equally, we'll be very open to any ideas that they've got that we can help support them with. But as we get through the next few months and into the process of getting to know the businesses better,
that have come in today, they're looking good. Maruti has moved to the high point of the day. Bajaj Auto as well has moved to the high point of the day. Two-wheelers and four-wheelers both doing well. Mangalam's going on a date this evening. What are you going on?
I'm not going on anything, but the Hero is not too far behind. And by Hero, I don't mean myself. No, Hero Motorcorp. That one's at the high point of the day as well, due to report their monthly numbers.
Two-wheeler or four-wheeler?
Hero's a two-wheeler, right?
No, I mean, your date.
No, not my date. We'll talk about that. Okay, the truck. With that, we'll take your leave on Chartbusters. Stay tuned to CNBC TV. 18 trading hour comes up next.